listening to Traumedy, the podcast that helps you take your pain and play with it. I'm Nancy Norton. I'm a comedian. I'm a former nurse. I'm a keynote speaker about the power of humor, the many, many benefits of humor, why we need it, how it helps us in all kinds of ways. I will be out there delivering that keynote this month in Chicago at Chicago General Hospital. That sounds like, I don't know, that sounds like a cartoon hospital, Chicago General Hospital. We have a great guest this week. She is a therapist. I met her from doing a corporate gig here in Denver at a beautiful law firm. One of her clients was like, "You need to meet my therapist, Tania Henderson."
But what I've discovered in this is that there's also a really deep, deep wisdom that I feel like is timeless. And so as I've done that work, I've now learned another deeper layer of, I'll be sitting with a client and I'll just take a moment, and because I know that like fear screams, but wisdom whispers. So if I take that moment and say, what's here? I get messages that I couldn't explain, but all of a sudden it's like, I'll ask a question or I'll say, could we try this? And it was just right. So that's what I hope for people as well, is that they can find their own inner wisdom.
This guest embraces a playful approach to therapy. She has a little plaque that says Employee of the Month, and it's always her. And she has a staff of stuffies and is a fan of comedy. Used to be on the board at the Bug Theater. Speaking of the Bug Theater, that's another place. There's a show coming up called Headstrong with a bunch of scientists, brilliant scientist women, and then a bunch of female comedians pairing up, all for the good cause of research in women's health, because there's not enough of it. And now, especially in these times with this administration, research is at risk. What else do you want to know? Oh yeah, if you want to come to one of my shows, and I'm going to be up in Alaska, the Alaska World Arts Festival in Homer, Alaska, and then doing a Moms Unhinged in Anchorage. That's towards the end of September. There's a bunch of other shows. You want to know about a show, please go to my website, nancynorton.tv. That's nancynorton.tv, like television. And spread the word about Traumedy. Traumedy is not a replacement for trauma therapy, but it does help you get by between sessions. If you know somebody who's feeling isolated with their trauma or needs to know they're not alone, or maybe just needs a laugh, please share this with them. All right. That's enough from me for now. I'll see you on the other side. Enjoy this episode. Welcome to Traumedy. My guest this week is a psychotherapist. Please welcome Tania Henderson, everybody. Woo! And I have applause. I always do this. I have applause. The angels love the clapping. That's what I think. Thank you for coming to Boulder today.
Oh, my pleasure.
And for responding to whatever it was in our mutual friend, who probably remains anonymous, because maybe a client of yours, I'm not sure. I think she indicated that to me. But when I met her, she's like, "Oh, you need to meet Tania Henderson." That's what she said.
That's so sweet of her. That's so sweet.
Yeah. Well, she knows my mission statement is to help heal myself and others. And then maybe because she also knew that you were involved with comedy, like you were on the board of the Bug Theater in Denver.
It could be, but I also know that I have a style of therapy where I play with folks.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah. So I have a style of therapy that truly, like, we do experiments, and I have a whole wall of stuffed animals to help represent what you might be feeling on the inside and can relate to those different parts.
Yes.
You know, I have one that is a cat I call Nibs, and it looks insane. The eyes are like this.
Oh yeah.
Like frantic hair. And one of folks' favorites, because it can represent like that inner turmoil.
Oh my gosh. Stuffies. I have worked with Stuffies personally. Like even I had an ex-girlfriend one time who she would talk to me through the Stuffies like a puppet.
Oh, that's delightful.
Yeah. We'd be sitting there and she would have it in front of us going, well, and then she was really good, like puppeteer too. She would make it look at me and her, and she goes, well, she's worried. And then she would talk in third person like that. And I think it really gave her permission to share some of her tender feelings through a bit of a buffer. And it really opened my heart too, to where I wasn't as defensive. I could hear it. Do you use it with individuals and couples, or?
I work with individuals.
Okay.
So a way that I might use it is to have, oftentimes there's more than one active.
Sure.
So, if there's an inner conflict, like, let's see if I can give you an example. Part of me wants to go to the party tonight, part of me doesn't. And so these different, stuffed animals or pillows or whatever we choose to do can give voice to the experience. And what I try to do is get it clean so that, because inside it's churning all the time and we're not able to really pinpoint, like, what's the need? What's the voice here? And so these little fuzzy representations can be like, oh, this feels like my pleaser. He just wants to keep everybody happy. Or this one is, I'm a chameleon, or I'm full of rage here, or whatever the emotion might be.
I love it.
Right?
I love it.
And so this also helps them hold it tenderly.
Yeah. And have that just a little bit of distance with it.
Yes.
I have a stuffy, actually it's hidden under this scarf, and it has, I've mentioned I have the misaligned eyes, which is a trauma, and I do believe from a trauma in infancy, and my frog, my frog has misaligned eyes.
Oh, that's delightful.
Yeah, and my therapist gave it to me a while back when I was doing brain spotting therapy.
Oh, sure.
And I had a little frog when I first had eye surgery when I was 6. And they put patches on my eyes, and then they put these things on my arms that I couldn't touch my head.
Oh.
Like a little elbow lock.
Yeah.
And then it was one of the most tender memories with my mom that she would loosen she was a nurse too, and she was a rule follower, but she loosened my little arm splints and let me hug my froggy. Oh. It was a tender memory. And so then Froggy became my emotional support stuffy.
Yeah. Who you could literally hold by your heart.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have a couple stuffies on my bed that represent my inner child and my inner child's playmate. So This is wonderful that I don't know if you're comfortable or even if it would make sense. I would love to see a picture of your stuffy collection. Is it up on a wall, or is it in a net? Is it all over the room?
They live in lots of places. So I have a family of otters to do like parts, right?
I love otters.
I have a whole bookshelf full of them. I have a Damn It doll.
Tell me about Damn It doll.
Oh, well, let me finish with the other ones real quick, and then we'll come back.
Sorry.
So it's like, I'm just trying to think of some. So I have a chameleon. I have Nibs the cat. I have an angry bird. Is one of them. I have this little prairie dog that has a necklace around her for perfectionism. I have little possum for the freeze response. People shut down.
Yeah.
And I have little bunnies to represent like the wounded places. So yeah, just a myriad of different.
Do they come to you? Do people bring stuffies, or do you just find them out in the world like that stuffy needs to be?
I would say both. So Nibs came to my life when I was going to the chocolate therapist. It's down in Littleton, super great place. And he was in a gaming store just looking out at me. And I'm like, oh my, you must live with me. You must be one with me. And so it's just so perfect. So Nibs is those chocolate little pieces.
Oh, yeah.
That's why Nibs has that name.
Oh, wow.
But other ones usually
Nibs.
come from, I'm trying to work with people on these different parts, and it's like, I don't have a representation for that.
Yeah.
So my recent addition is a bat. And people love to highlight, like, wrapping themselves up to shield themselves from the world, right?
Yeah, like a bat hanging with its wings around itself.
Yes. Or feeling misunderstood, right? Because bats are so misunderstood.
I know.
So yeah, what I love about stuffed animals is that they allow people to project onto them what they need them to be.
Yeah.
So I don't have to tell people what's true for them. They get to show me what's true for them.
And it really liberates that part to speak.
Yes.
That's amazing. And I'm doing some IFS work, some inner family systems work. Mm-hmm. I was going to tell you about a part I have, an inner teenager. Her name is Virginia Vengeance.
Oh, I love that.
She takes the knives out of her back and like, come on.
Yeah.
She's never won a fight, but she's down for one.
Nice.
She's very ragey. She's very intuitive. She knows what's up. She can spot a sociopath, and she likes to call them out in public. And I didn't listen to her for a while, and she's really, really, really mad at me for not listening to her in some of my relationships, where I let, she protects my inner baby. She's tired babysitting now, so I'm trying to give her a break. But I was thinking about Damn It Doll. I don't know. Do you think she'd be a cousin to Virginia Vengeance?
I think Virginia Vengeance needs a Damn It Doll.
Okay.
Right? Because Damn It Dolls are intended to allow expression of your emotions. So I had one client who borrowed my Damn It Doll and ended up hitting this on a staircase and beheaded the thing. And I thought that is what they're for, right? It's safe, but it's big, right? It allows for big feelings.
Yeah.
And
it
at
needed
the end
to
of
happen.
You're safe. There's no damage. There's no
Except to Damn It Doll.
Except to the Damn It Doll, which I delight that we can just sew that head right back on.
And it's her purpose, and she accepts her purpose. She's like, I'm happy to help you. I'm like a starfish that grows another arm.
There you go.
Maybe get a Damn It Doll with a couple of heads. Two-headed Damn It Doll.
That is an intriguing idea.
That's great. So it's a place like, because we get so much shame, let me just do I statements. I feel shamed, and I have been shamed for having anger. Like it's just an unacceptable emotion in a lot of cultures, and especially for me, I'm going to say why I want to say for females in our culture, it's just, my mother would not, you weren't allowed to you weren't allowed to talk back to her. You weren't allowed to, that was pretty much it.
And there you go. Yes. Scene. I think that's so true. In fact, I think that's one of the emotions that people have dissociated the most. And it's either a form of protection, so we're then out in the world without one of our most effective protections, or it's a lament. Right? Like, I'm like, why does this have to be this way? Or why can't you hear me? Or what right?
Yes.
Whatever. So if we disown that, then there's so much of our experience we don't get to hold and have room for.
This is my experience with my mother, who wasn't allowing herself to have her anger.
Yes.
I had to have it for her, but then I get in trouble for it. Do you know, I've had a lot of partners where I've learned, like, I think I was having their feelings for them. And I mean, I got to own my own feelings too, but it's like, that's some crazy making stuff right there. Yeah. Like if we have our own feelings, it's so helpful to people around us. Like I wish we would embrace that more. Like with Gail, my ex, and I don't remember her using anger as much, but it was mainly like little shy part of her that wanted to ask for something but wasn't allowed to. Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway, is this this type of therapy, you were saying you do Gestalt. Is this part of Gestalt?
Well, it's my flavor of Gestalt.
Yeah, because you're licensed to do it.
And I'm certified in it. No, but I mean, Gestalt, the one of the big pieces is it believes in our inherent health and our desire to be whole, and that through exploration, trying new things, that the goal is to eventually find that place of peace and wholeness. So you can't get much yummier than that. And so we were talking about parts before IFS was here. In fact, Richard Schwartz even comments on, his work with Gestalt before kind of coming up with this.
So that's sort of what informed the IFS, or was part of it anyway.
I would say I also think, if you're a therapist long enough, you see parts. I mean, I could see this from even before I started grad school. So, but parts is part of it.
No pun intended.
No, or is pun intended. Exactly. But the work can be subtle. Like one of the things I see with trauma folks is they don't savor. So they'll have this like, I have to do it perfect, and they'll work and work and work, and then once they get it, it's just like, oh, thank God. And then they're already off to the next thing they have to do. Oh. And so it's like, can you savor with me?
Okay.
And so we just bring it down, and let's just take a moment and enjoy this. And that's when you get to see either this wonderful smile and this like the body resting, or I get to see what shows up and says, no, it is not okay to savor. It hasn't been safe enough to savor.
Yes.
And then we get to see what kind of ghosts are in the room with us, for lack of a...
I so appreciate you sharing that. I'm getting a little insight here from you. Thank you. I just realized I've taken it as a compliment from my therapist that I'm like, I'll say, you know, I'm growth oriented. And she's like, that is an understatement. But now I'm recognizing like, oh, this constant like movement. Striving. And I've been thinking about this lately, like, you know, when babies learn to walk, it's not like they have to, it's just a natural thing. Like I'm trying to figure this out, like how much of my time I spend reaching for growth versus just trusting the natural process and being like, I don't know that when you said that earlier about peace, I thought, what's that like?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yeah, that really, I think I need to go back and make that more of a goal. Like, I don't think I even have that as a goal. My brother asked me recently if I had a magic wand, and I was telling him things I would like to see different in the world, you know, empathy for all, you know, compassion, you know, and he goes, well, what about your pain? Wouldn't you like to remove your pain? And I was like, no, because that informs me about, like, I don't know at what cost. And I couldn't, but I think peace would be something I could get behind with a magic wand.
So I think you're talking to something that maybe I can share some thoughts on. I have some clients who think that if they healed, then they're never going to get upset. And it's like, no, that's not the goal. The goal is to live life and to be able to respond to it. And our emotions inform us on what needs are present and how to respond to the environment, right? So, you know, we're going to feel sad when there's loss. We're going to feel angry when we feel tread upon. So we get to have rich emotions, but there's something behind it, right? And it's this inner groundedness and this connection to our deeper wisdom.
Yes.
That we can then say, help guide these feelings so that they can do what they need to do, that I can hear them and then respond wisely.
I love that.
Right?
And the word attunement comes to mind because of so much of my work in my recovery program and therapy is about self-abandonment. And as a adoptive parent, we had to go to parenting classes and we learned about attuning to the child versus maybe what happened in my experience was that I attuned to my mother to make myself safe. And so I abandoned my needs. And so I'm hearing you that to be attuned with oneself, to not abandon oneself. And then these stuffies, like as we are able to start knowing that part of us through that work and then integrating it and trusting its voice, like hearing it and trusting it. I like the way you said it. Why did I need to rephrase it? I don't think I'm putting it into my
validating.
That's my active listening.
There you go. But parts to me often are spicy. They're big, right? So shame can be big, and you know, anger can be big, and sadness can be big, and those you know, you've mentioned the inner child. That small place can be big. So learning how to say hi, talk to me, tell me what you need, tell me what you sense, tell me what wisdom I need to hear from you, and then have another place where you go and say, how can I show up for that?
Yes.
From this like centered wisdom place. That to me is what's super yummy. And what I've learned so I'm now certified in psychedelic work as well.
That's awesome. You know, I'm a big proponent of psychedelic therapy. Congratulations. And
thank you.
I'm happy for your clients as well.
Well, thank you. But what I've discovered in this is that there's also a really deep, deep wisdom that I feel like is timeless. And so as I've done that work, I've now learned another deeper layer of, I'll be sitting with a client and I'll just take a moment, and because I know that like fear screams, but wisdom whispers. So if I take that moment and say, what's here? I get messages that I couldn't explain, but all of a sudden it's like I'll ask a question or I'll say, could we try this? And it was just right. So that's what I hope for people as well, is that they can find their own inner wisdom, learn how to be friends with their emotions and their experiences, and then figure out how to show up wisely. That's my hope.
I love that. I love that goal. I am working on that in my program. I sound like Stuart Smalley on Saturday Night Live. I don't know if you know the character.
I do.
Al
I love that
Franken's character. I did too. Is my favorite.
Yeah,
and I love that movie. Stuart Saves His Family, I think it's called. It's a very fun movie. It's
I haven't seen it. Okay.
Okay. I recommend it. It only has 2-star rating, but I loved it. I loved it. And anyway, I am in a program, but one of the goals is to become an actor rather than a reactor.
Yes.
And I do have takeovers quite often from Virginia Vengeance. So yeah, I'm working on it still. And it's one of those tricky things too, because she feels so righteous, like her rage feels very like this has to happen. And I'm not even sure to this day. I've had a couple of instances where I have raged on the stage. Ooh. And I will not be asked back to the Snowmass Comedy Festival.
Did you have a rage fest there?
I did. It turned it into a rage fest. It was the late show.
I would have loved to see that.
It's probably on video somewhere. It wasn't pretty. But I mean, there were a lot of variables leading up to it that I understand, but 2 of them that I really now learned, I cannot mix 20 milligrams of Vyvanse with tequila. Okay.
All right. These are those wisdoms we gain along the way. That's what this was to teach me.
Because I call my ADHD medication Vyvanse, I call it a shame and doubt blocker. Like, I don't have any shame or doubt. I feel so clear on it.
But liberating and terrifying at the same time.
And then imagine with just a little extra, like a tequila. And I do believe there was also a Kentucky Mule that was had, and at altitude. Okay, a lot of variables.
Oh, you were doomed.
Yeah.
You were doomed.
Oh, no. And I don't know. So here I look back on this and I gotta say, I do believe it's for the highest good. Even though I'm not going to be asked back, I was warning people about this man that was on stage who was, I perceived him to be not only misogynistic, but I perceived him to be dangerous sociopath. And I was warning all the women in this bar. It didn't matter that the show was happening. I was...
So a warrior... she's a warrior. She's
a warrior. And she is, like, my therapist is trying to reframe her from Virginia Vengeance to Virginia the Valiant, But I will say this. I don't know if I could have been more effective. Although there were a few women that came up to me and said, I understand.
I'm glad people could show up for you in that moment.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious, right? To know your good intentions. And...
Yeah. And one of the audience members, she had seen me at the earlier show where I was talking about my codependency. And then she came up to me and she goes, well, you know how when you're breaking out of being a codependent and you're done being a people pleaser, people are not pleased. So she let me know that. And I thought,
what a lovely way to frame that.
But I was willing to not please people, and I was willing to burn, I guess, a bridge. I don't know. There might have been a more effective way. I'm not sure, but it's what it was. It is what it is. It's done. Maybe still for the highest good. I'm trying to trust my path. I would not like to do it too often.
Well, but I think, I mean, I hear what you're saying, and there's benefits and costs to when Virginia comes out.
Yes.
But I'm also hearing, when we first start hearing those voices, that they are messy,
Yeah.
And that's part of us building a relationship again is how do I hold this energy and how do I make room for you? And it usually is messy.
Yeah.
Coming out.
Especially with alcohol, I suppose. But anyway, I don't know why I was bringing that up. But I guess because, especially with rage, I think there is a fear sometimes that, if we touch into this, it's going to be like so powerful. Like it feels dangerous or destructive or, I don't know. Like toddlers, they say, are like little Shivas. But I think as a toddler, I wasn't allowed to be a little Shiva. Yeah. So she never got to have her day.
Yeah. This may end up being a TMI, but I have a general attitude towards emotions, which is however we're going to hold them and cope with them, the goal is to not have a lot of cleanup at the end.
Oh,
right.
okay.
So like however we cope, can the net be positive? Right.
All right.
And so when I was really getting in tune with some anger, what I learned is the bathtub is fantastic because it's a natural nest, and it's really hard to yell at people when you're wet and naked. Right. So it was like, it kind of created this container, and then I could literally stew in my own juices and just get so mad. And I'd be cursing in there, and I'd be, ranting. And then over time, the emotion would kind of begin to calm down. And then I started having other thoughts like, is there any chance the other person might have a good point?
Yes.
Is there any chance that, being a therapist for X amount of years, that they may not know those things, right? I'm thinking about like my beautiful daughter, and it's like, am I expecting her to be 27 years older than she is?
Yeah.
Right? Like, am I meeting her where she's at? So it was a beautiful place to get angry, and also a great place to have a lot of humility at the end of it, right? To just seem like, yeah, this
humility.
Is valid. This, that certainty thing might be a little running away with you. So
yeah. I have thought recently, it gets kind of messed in with my inner critical parent, which is a, very shaming part of me that shames and offloads a lot of self-hate and shame. When you do this in the bathtub, you just made me think of the pool, because I have gone underwater and screamed underwater.
Yes.
So in the bathtub, do you kind of go underwater?
If I need to.
Okay.
I'll do whatever I want.
Because that really would buffer the sound, wouldn't it? To be underwater? I don't know.
It does, but you must know about me that I'm not a buffer. So I have a big martial arts bat in my office, and sometimes people need to scream lots of things. And so we hit pillows and let those big feelings happen.
So is your office set up in a way that you can be super loud in there without the office mates coming to you saying, hey, we got a problem?
I am so gifted. So on one side is bathrooms. On the other side is therapists that I don't think are ever there. And I'm on the top floor. So I just say, you know what? It's also a building that has a lot of therapists. So I figure, you know what? Let's just do this thing.
Okay.
So
I just was wondering, because I know in the past with type of therapy, I covered my face with pillow to scream so loud because I was worried about bothering other people. But then that's that part of me that's,
Yeah.
Wait till you have a microphone and there's a comedy festival.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah. Oh, but I've had clients, when it feels right? It's not scripted, but it's like, what do you need to have come out of you? And it doesn't matter what words are said. It doesn't matter how loud. It's just, how can you have room for your voice? So
I love this.
I try to make room for that,
Oh, I am appreciating that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not to let it go. And then in your experience, have you found that there's a satisfaction afterwards? I mean, because the fear I'm having is like, oh, is that going to make me want to rage more? Or,
I think one of the things that's really significant to name is that it's one thing to do it by yourself. It's another to have it witnessed.
Yeah.
And so when someone gets big and I'm right there with them and they're seeing, wait, you're not telling me to be quiet? You're not reenacting my mom telling me that I can't be angry? Like, you're giving me room. There's just something really pure about it.
Yeah.
And I hold the space. I create the container. And I have ways of saying, ooh, let's channel that this way, or let's make sure it has this, right? So that at the end they know I'm safe. I can go big and still be okay. And then I make sure they have a soft landing.
Yeah,
So
and not be abandoned and not be abandoned. Yeah, that's such a gift to people.
I think so. And I should mention for your listeners that, you don't have to get big. So some people, that's what they feel, that's what they need. And other people, it's quiet and might be more mental or might be more body or whatever. So I don't want anybody to think that the only way to heal is by being loud. There's so many things that we can do.
Yeah.
So this is just one particular option, the toolbox of options. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I love the toolbox of options. You know that. And so in my trauma therapy in different styles, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm one of those that's like, it's hard to imagine not having a therapist, I got to say. I really find it's such a special relationship, especially a trusted, when you've built a relationship. And I have had 3 long-term therapists so far. Like, I feel like the first one was 7 or 8 years. And then I think again, and then now I think I'm a few years in, and it's all different. The person I'm with now, I met her doing psychedelic therapy.
Yeah.
And then it was so transformative and bonding.
Yes.
And I did the first time, it was MDMA therapy, which was profound to open my heart to myself. I had never done that particular drug ever. And that's what she said. I want you to try this because I want you to open your heart to yourself first. And anyway, what was my point here?
Well, you're talking about a long-term therapist, so you had said.
Yeah, and different modalities.
Yeah.
And I think I was leading into the psychedelic because even though I had done EMDR and brain spotting, there was something I couldn't get to.
Yeah.
Everything in my life made sense afterwards. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Everything, like needing to be heard, and feeling like I might die if I'm not heard. And now I'm like, okay. But I was curious for you, do you identify as the wounded healer? Like, did you come from a place where you had to heal yourself first or simultaneously? Like my podcast is, I'm still healing myself with it. It's
Absolutely.
Sort of co-healing.
Yes, I do think I'm a wounded healer, but I would also say I feel like all of us, if we're human beings going through this messy world, that we're going to have trauma. It just is, right?
I haven't met anyone that doesn't.
No, but I'm at a place in life now where a lot of like those wounds are quiet. And so what I find is that I just keep experiencing new things with different people and getting to see how does that inform my world? How does that broaden? How are you challenging me? Like, what are you needing me to know about you? And how can I show up for you, right? It's I don't want to say like, I've arrived. I don't feel that way, but I just feel like my stuff isn't loud, I think is how I would say it.
Okay.
And I feel
because it doesn't need to be loud. It can feel heard without being loud.
Yeah.
Because you're listening to the whisper of the wisdom.
I am trying to listen to all of it. Yeah.
And now that you're recently, I'm thinking recently got certified with psychedelics.
In June.
And I was curious, as part of that, we experienced, a lot of folks do go through it yourself. Did you go through some, or would you be comfortable talking about
I'm happy to talk
having
about
psychedelic therapy yourself, or in the training, if anything shifted for you, or maybe this is why it's your next level of like access? Because we were talking about spirituality and some of the synchronicities, and I was just curious if this is part of your personal growth.
Sure. Well, I kind of like you, I had done a lot of EMDR. I have done a lot of therapy, and there were just some things that were still there and really, really persistent and felt beyond my capacity. And so I had a client who actually introduced me to the whole psychedelic world, was sending me like academic papers and stuff like, you have to read this, you should do this, you should get you should get certified.
As Stuart Smalley would say, they were shitting all over you.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I was being shit on. So I ended up saying, well, let me see what happens. And so I worked with MDMA myself twice, and some things really, really shifted and got quiet. But the things I needed that I went to it for, like went into the medicine with, weren't touched yet. So then when I worked with a different medicine, it shifted things dramatically. And so that's when it was like, this feels right. And I just looked at my beautiful humans that I work with and could see there's some of you that we can't touch whatever it is.
Yeah.
We're not getting to it.
Those defense mechanisms are so powerful sometimes.
So the protection. So to me, this was like, if there's a way I can be more educated, have more tools to see how I can support your healing, that was the whole purpose behind this.
Yeah.
And so I'm just grateful. You know, to me, it's not for everybody, but it's nice to have EMDR. It's nice to have, you know, the psychedelic work. It's nice to have the Gestalt work. So creates hopefully a nice way to work with whatever people are bringing to me.
A well-rounded offering.
I do try.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm guessing maybe some gifts that came for you personally through it.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool how sometimes, you know, I worked for a number of years as a registered nurse, and sometimes, you know, the patient gives you these gifts sometimes, and it's really cool to be in that space of receiving occasionally. Not that we go into it for that, but it's like a secondary gain or whatever, I guess. It's like, wow, and you know, even in my recovery work where I'm sponsoring somebody, but then I'm like, wow, this person just blew my mind. Like I'm thinking I don't have whatever bandwidth to sponsor somebody, and then they give me this amazing gift, you know, of sharing an insight they had. It's so cool.
Well, I'm kind of addicted to therapy and why I say that is because I get to work with these beautiful people who are willing to be vulnerable, and we get to have real conversations. Yeah. Reach deep places, and there's nothing like it.
Right.
You know, it's just nothing. So I just feel so blessed by that. And you're right. I get to learn from them. I remember when I was getting supervised and then mentored, she would ask me, so Tania, why do you think you have so many people with self-esteem issues? I'm like, oh, stop it. Message received. Yeah, nothing like your own stuff staring you in the face to keep you humble.
Message received. Yeah. I love how you said that. Oh, man. Oh, it's the 7 o'clock or whatever time it is, 7 o'clock tornado. It's just a warning every.
Well, how exciting.
Yeah, this is a warning system test.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we can work that into the theme. You know, this is only a test. This whole life thing, right? It's just a test.
I love this idea.
I don't know how, I mean, I am very, especially after doing some psychedelic therapies, I feel like remove some blocks to some access to some spirit wisdom or spirit connection. And I am sort of looking at the fact that my soul chose this mother, my soul chose this life and these challenges. And maybe that's a way of me getting out of my victim energy. But I'm just like, I think my next question is, why did I choose that?
Well, you're definitely highlighting that there are ways I can grow through my experiences. You know, yes, I had this mother, and how can I evolve from that and not be permanently wounded by it? And it's a lot of work to do that. So is this like a weather service?
Yeah, it's the tornado warning system. They test it, or the flood warning.
Well, that's reassuring.
Yes,
it's working.
How are you doing on your trauma recovery?
Exactly.
Oh. Going to fight, flight, freeze. Fawn. You got to remember fawn. What else is there? Fight, flight, freeze, fawn.
Fright. Flag.
What?
Yeah, faint.
There's some new Fs.
There's 7 total trauma responses.
Oh, hang on. This might be a good time to do it during the tornado warning.
There you go.
I don't know what I'm
feeling traumatized.
Okay, she's not done.
She's not done.
She's not done.
She just keeps.
We got to let her have her voice. What part of us is that? She's the.
Well, if you do IFS, this would be a firefighter.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. She's the firefighter.
Warning.
Yeah. Do you have a stuffy for a firefighter?
Well, I mean, firefighters come in many forms.
I know,
right?
But I'm curious what form your firefighter would.
Oh, what form would my firefighter be? So firefighters can come in terms of like shutting down. That can be a firefighter. People who go and drink can be a fighter.
So like one of those fire blankets.
Yeah,
like,
that's a great way
the ones
to put
that they're on reels lately. I've been seeing the fire blankets.
There you go.
I must have paused on that ad long enough that I get to see a lot of those now.
Your algorithm.
Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, you were asking me about the trauma types.
Yes. Okay. The trauma types. I didn't know there were 7. There's 7?
There's 7.
Okay. Flight, fight, Virginia Vengeance, fight.
Yep.
Flight, freeze, fawn. Mm-hmm. That's all I know so far.
So do you mind if I kind of put this in a story context?
Oh, yeah. I'll stop talking.
No, you don't have to.
I was trying to guess. I didn't know what you were looking at me for.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
I thought I was supposed to guess.
Well, you were doing great. I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm like, you're shining there. It's beautiful.
Off, is that one?
Maybe it will be from this. That's the fight. Will be off. So you have flight is first, because if we can leave the situation we want to, right? And then if I can't, then I'll fight. And then, well, that's not going to work. So I'm going to play dead, because maybe the predator will lose interest and go away, right? So that's the freeze. Right? And then sometimes we can't go anywhere. And so then we hit fright level. So this is like the whole body is kind of on, rigid.
All right, fright.
Fright, okay. And so then we go into flag. And that's when I can't escape this. I think I may have to leave my body so I can preserve part of my ego, no matter what might happen to me physically. And so that's when we start seeing dissociation. Okay. And then into faint is when the body is going to fall to the floor, thinks it may have been poisoned. So we get the heart and the head even, so blood flows evenly, and we tend to throw up. And that's getting rid of the toxin, right?
Okay.
So think of people who are like trapped in really, really awful situations. They're the ones who are going to go all that way through, right? Yeah. Most of us are hanging out in the fright, freeze area.
Okay.
What you're highlighting is there's another one, which is fawn. And that's for specific situations where it makes more sense to my system to please that which is dangerous, because I'll be less likely to be, traumatized or wounded. So I will please you, and that I'll be in your good graces. And those tend to be in situations where the situation's chronic.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say,
saying with mom, who you live with all the time.
And that's where that codependency can be birthed. And then, or I just saw something, I don't know what I was watching, about a girl that was kidnapped, and she fawned her kidnapper and was able to get free because of it.
Yes.
Made herself safe and also gained his trust in some way.
Yep.
Anyway, it was fascinating to me that she thought to do that. I knew to do that. Maybe that's just part of our instinct system.
Well, that's just it. It's the whole thing is about survival.
Okay.
So how do I help myself survive in this? And so whatever we need to do, we're going to do it.
And so that's your work, is helping us to know what survival, when is it time to lay these down if we're in a chronic state of codependency or a chronic state of fawning. And when is it like trying to learn it's a safe place and we can lay this down now and we're not a helpless child or whatever, trying to step into our adult self and our empowered wisdom.
I mean, I think what you're highlighting is that's part of the question is, hey, for this protection, is it safe enough to rest? Because we still want these protections in place if we need them, but maybe we don't need them as much. Maybe, but they have to know it's safe enough to let go, right? They have to make sure that. So it takes time.
Yeah.
For that.
It sure does. My experience.
Yeah.
Well, especially like with complex PTSD. And I mean, my therapist who did brain spotting, my son had an acute event of being attacked by a man here in Boulder as a kid, choked in the street. And, but she was able to help clear that in just 1 or 2 sessions because of proximity to it. It was just one isolated incident.
Right.
Whereas if you've had a long childhood, which they are, then that does take time, doesn't it? To let you know, we aren't there now. And it's hard to even know, I hear this all the time in meetings, especially with codependency, of people who am I?
Yeah.
Who is my authentic self?
Yeah.
We're so over-identified with that pleaser part of us, that fawning part or whatever you call it.
Well, and part of fawning is that I'm so focused on the other person that I don't get to have needs and wants. So I have to relearn them. I have to learn it's okay to have them. And then the space to discover. And that's hard.
Yeah. So it's not a problem to be in therapy for years, right? Like my siblings, they'll look at me and go, well, I don't want to be in therapy for years.
All right, I'm going to be ornery. I want you to say that, and I want you to say it as a statement instead of a question.
Yeah. Okay. I love that you just did that, because I have these codependent necklaces, and it says I honor myself, and on the back, if you don't mind.
Right.
And then if you want to be, in your power, you read the back first. If you don't mind, I'll honor myself. And so I hear what you're saying. I think it is that. Okay, so let me try and say that as a statement. I appreciate my willingness to let go of my lifelong survival traits by staying in therapy for years until I get it. Was that better?
Well, I
was that not what we were going for?
Well, it's okay. So what you're doing is you're coming to me and you're saying, is this okay? Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm saying, I'm not the one to answer that.
Oh.
So instead, how about if you turn it into a statement and try it on, and it's either going to be wrong or it's going to be right. So you're going to say, it's okay to be in therapy for years. Oh, that doesn't feel right. Or, yeah. So what's true for you?
Yeah.
So I would say, turn that into a statement and try it on.
Yeah. That is true for me. It's okay to be in therapy for years. Yeah.
Yeah, you get to own that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm very selfish with my podcast. I get to heal myself.
I think you said that at the start, that's part of what this is for.
I do hear from folks that get a little nugget here and there. So, and I really do believe in the power of the speaker and the witness, and like they are holding space, and I'm sending it back, like it's going back and forth.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
it's kind of living what we're talking about, which is so fun.
Yeah. Is there anything else you feel like sharing about psychedelic therapy, play, comedy, traumedy, any part of you that wants to be heard?
I
think being is nice. We can just be with it for a little bit.
We can. Yeah, maybe. Let's see where this goes. So, in January, in November, when the news came out about how the election transpired, I of course had my own personal response, and I got a text from a former client who said, my women's group wants you to come and talk to us about how to cope with this situation. I'm like, oh, okay. So I already have to have everything clean for myself. And so luckily I spaced it out a bit until January, but went and spoke to these women. And in the meantime, I really tried to borrow from, there's a wonderful Buddhist scholar who's here in Boulder, actually, Pema Chodron, and I don't think I'm saying her last name right, but went to also like a Jewish rabbi, and Viktor Frankl, who did Man's Search for Meaning. And so I was like, okay, what wisdoms can we glean? And the one thing that just spoke to me so much was we need to stay awake, right? So no matter what's happening, we need to be able to be present for it, because that's the only way we'll have response ability. And so I just keep seeing all these different ways where people are trying to avoid, including themselves, right? Like, I just don't want to think about that. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to feel that. And it's like, I wonder how we can show up and keep our head up, keep our center, and say, how do I show up in this moment? And so I feel like as we're now months into this presidency, this experience, political landscape, that we keep showing up. And I hope as we do this together in community, we can also do this together within ourselves. Just how do we stay awake? And I think that's a big thing I'd love for people to keep being invited to do.
Thank you for that. And I really appreciated how you combine the word with response and ability, not responsibility, but response ability. That was interesting. I've never heard that way. What is mine to do? What is my response ability and what is my responsibility? And I'm still asking that. And I have been dissociating a lot with my phone and doom scrolling. And are there any insights that come for you or that help you stay awake to tolerate and titrate the pain? Because I feel a lot of pain and agitation, and it's hard to tolerate it.
Yeah.
And so is there any, I hear the naked bath could be helpful. I'm feeling like diving into the pool and roar.
Yeah, some screaming, yeah.
But is there, I mean, I guess finding like minds, finding community. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
All these sound great to me. I also feel like I'm trying to approach this as, how am I going to be invited to grow through this? Not to, around it, not that I can't or whatever, but, how do I see this as a moment to seize? Where will I be called? How will I be called? What in me needs expression? And to know that we don't always get to grow when it's comfortable,
Hardly ever.
Yeah.
I know.
Honestly,
I
yes.
know. It's so, I've been asking higher power, may I please learn from delight? I will stay awake. I will follow that frequency. And I am intermittently doing that, but I had another guest who she's a therapist. She's a psychiatrist. She was laughing like, good luck with that.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, dang it. But I mean, I think it's okay to state that as a request. And I've learned a lot from suffering. Thank you. I do believe in post-traumatic gifts and growths. And I do feel like one of my gifts is, bringing laughter to people and raising the frequency and acknowledging some of these things in a way that's tolerable with humor. But also, may I please learn from delight? Can we?
Yes, exactly.
And not become that which we are disgusted by. Because I have had that in relationships with sociopaths.
Good point.
When you try to outthink them, outplay them, they start 3D printing in your own brain. And it's just like, oh no, I don't want to become them to win at their game.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I get mad at the Democrats for not like, look what they're doing. They're breaking all the rules. We should break the rules.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not a Democrat. I just want to say I'm a registered independent. I'm way over far. I'm farther over. I was Green Party. But anyway, I know as a therapist, I know you try to be a neutral.
But I think that there are some things being revealed that we've been on a trajectory for decades that has not been course corrected.
Okay.
And so we may need to see some things and face some things in order to get on a healthier path. And so, we usually don't like to grow. We usually don't want to sign up for it. It's kind of sometimes thrust upon us. So whatever side of the aisle you're on, this is a chance to grow.
Yeah.
And look within. And how do you want to show up when it's hard? Because that's what I'm trying to figure out is, what does loving mean when it's hard? I can love when it's easy.
I know,
right? And so, but I don't know what that means. I have some good ideas, but it doesn't mean enabling bad behavior. It doesn't mean just being sweet all the time. That's not love to me.
Right.
Right. So
we don't have to play nice.
Yeah.
That's not what you're saying. You're saying it's okay to love and hold folks accountable and whatever it is you're called to do, I guess. I mean, everybody has a different gift to bring or a different calling, and the whole othering thing just can get it. I just know I was writing something yesterday or whatever, it doesn't matter when, but it was basically about, it's just othering leads to hate, leads to wars. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. In Gestalt, we have a wonderful human who was back in like 1910-ish era called Buber. And he came up with some different ways people can interact. And one of them, he said, is an I-thou. And the I-thou moment is that I see your humanity. I see that you are, with me, right? Even so I can be mad at you and I can struggle with you, but that thou-ness, that humanity remains intact. And then he highlighted another kind of interaction, which is an I-it. And that's what you're talking about, where I can project onto you, I can treat you less than, And that's when things get dangerous, because we may have feelings, but then we can also give ourselves a lot of permission to misbehave.
Yeah.
So to me, if we can show up in these moments with that I-thou heart, that's what we need. No matter, whether we agree or disagree, how do we never I-it anyone?
Wow. Thank you. I think that's a good place to pause.
Yeah. Feel good?
Yeah, it feels really good. I'm glad you checked in and brought that up at the meeting. How can people reach you if they want to reach out for therapy, or are you open to having people, I can put in the show notes a link to your website or
yes, please,
email?
that'd be great. And I have a monthly newsletter I have, so people are welcome to also say, hey, here's a topic I'd love to know more about, because usually what I write about is what I keep seeing either in my office or seeing in the world. So yeah, I'd love for people to reach out. My practice is called Side-by-Side Counseling.
Side by side.
Yes, exactly.
Counseling, and that's all one word. If they go to the website?
They go to the website. So it's SBS Counseling is my web address, but the name of my practice is Side-by-Side Counseling.
Thank you, Tania. Tania
you.
Henderson. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Nancy. It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate you. I want to thank my guest, Tania Henderson. Check out Tania's website. Give her feedback for her newsletter at SBS Counseling. That's sidebyside.counseling.com. I want to thank my son, Nathaniel Norton, for putting together the music loop for Traumedy. And I want to thank you, the listener, for witnessing this, giving feedback, sharing the vibe, raising the frequency. Together, we're going to get through things. We are doing it. We are. We're going to get through it. Just keep going through it. Keep breathing. Yeah. And yeah, I'm going to work on these things we talked about on this episode about not othering, not I-it. Oh, it's so hard for me. I want to I-it some people. Okay. I got to keep working on that. All I know is we're all doing our best. Let's keep doing it. Let's keep loving each other and laughing when we can. Remember, no matter what, keep laughing.